Yikes! Prince Harry has lost his multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the publishers of the Daily Mail. Now, I'm in central London, and behind me are the headquarters of the Daily Mail, which is the most read English language newspaper in the world. It is a media platform detested by Harry and Meghan. Why? Because it publishes the truth. And what's happened is that Harry has sued the Daily Mail for what he claims to have been unlawful information gathering 15 years ago. Well, it's been thrown out by the judge, and it's likely to cost Harry up to $10 million.
On July 7th, 2026, a UK High Court judge closed the book on one of the biggest media lawsuits in royal history, and Prince Harry was on the losing side. After a 9-week trial and 6 months of deliberation, the case against the publisher of the Daily Mail collapsed entirely. Here's what actually happened and why it matters. The lawsuit was filed against Associated Newspapers Limited, publisher of the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday, and Mail Online. Prince Harry wasn't alone. He was joined by 6 other high-profile claimants: Sir Elton John, his husband David Furnish, Baroness Doreen Lawrence, actress Elizabeth Hurley, Sadie Frost, and Sir Simon Hughes. Together, they alleged the paper had engaged in unlawful information gathering going back decades: phone hacking, voicemail interception, and obtaining private information through deception. Some of the claims stretch back nearly 30 years. Associated Newspapers denied everything, calling the allegations preposterous, and insisting its roughly 50 disputed articles came from legitimate sources: friends, royal aides, and publicists.
To mention Harry's battle with the UK government for armed royal security, and now this! He loses to the Daily Mail, which has financial implications, reputational implications, and legal implications too, because it's quite possible that the Daily Mail could now seek revenge on Harry and go after him for more millions, because they've been dragged through the mud on this one.
The trial ran for 9 weeks. The judgment itself ran to 463 pages. And on July 7th, Justice Matthew Nicklin delivered his ruling, not in a courtroom, but by email. His conclusion: the claimants may have suspected unlawful methods were used, but they had not proven it. The court found there was a realistic possibility the information had come from legitimate, lawful sources instead. Every single claim from every claimant was dismissed. The financial stakes were enormous. Legal costs for the case, years of preparation plus an 11-week trial, were estimated at around £40 million, or roughly $53.5 million US dollars. Costs that the losing side could now be on the hook for. Associated Newspapers called it an overwhelming victory and a magnificent vindication of its journalism.
So, in a summary of his damning 436-page judgment, Mr. Justice Nicklin said the claimants had completely failed to prove their pleaded allegations of unlawful information gathering, and therefore their claims were completely dismissed. The High Court rejected the claimants' attempts to prove their allegations by broad inference, in other words, the implications, the suggestions, where there remained a legitimate and realistic possible lawful source pathway, or where the article's specific evidence did not prove that the relevant information must have been obtained unlawfully.
So what
to
actually
translate
went wrong
that
for Harry's side? 2 pieces of evidence stand out. First, the Charlotte Griffiths messages. Griffiths is the Mail on Sunday's editor-at-large. In his testimony, Harry claimed he'd met her only once at a party, and that as soon as he realized she was a journalist, he cut off all contact. But the court was shown a very different picture, a warm, ongoing message exchange between the two, spanning weeks, in which they discussed missing movie snuggles and signed off with affectionate nicknames. The judge found Griffiths to be a credible, careful witness, someone who was upfront about the limits of her own memory rather than overstating what she recalled. That contradiction between Harry's sworn account and the documented messages became one of the most damaging moments of the trial. Second, the collapse of the Gavin Burrows statement. Burrows, a former private investigator, had been positioned as a key witness for the claimants, but during proceedings, doubts emerged about a statement attributed to him, doubts serious enough that when pressed by the judge, the Mail's lawyers argued the most serious underlying allegations in the entire case had, in their words, effectively fallen away once that piece of evidence was in question. On top of that, the Mail's royal editor, Rebecca English, defended her own reporting in court, rejecting any suggestion her stories came from hacking and pointing instead to sources close to Harry who had spoken to the paper directly. Harry didn't accept the ruling quietly. In a joint statement with fellow claimant Doreen Lawrence, he said the verdict was not altogether unexpected, but argued the court had gone to unwarranted lengths to clear the Mail, adding, "We came to court seeking justice and accountability, but we have received neither." The statement also accused Mail journalists of offering denials rather than evidence, and claimed the court had chosen to believe them despite inconsistencies. The Mail, unsurprisingly, saw it differently, framing the result as vindication after years of accusations it maintained were baseless. Notably, this ruling landed during a UK visit already dogged by other headlines, including confusion over whether Buckingham Palace had offered Harry accommodation during his stay. The verdict added yet another complication to an already rocky homecoming. This is actually Harry's third major legal battle with the British press, and his record is mixed. In December 2023, Harry won a separate case against Mirror Group newspapers, prevailing on 15 claims over unlawful information gathering. In January 2025, the publisher of The Sun apologized to him for serious intrusion between 1996 and 2011, admitting private investigators working for the paper had carried out unlawful activity, and settled before trial. But this Associated Newspapers case is different. It went all the way to a full verdict, and Harry lost on every count alongside 6 co-claimants who joined him in the loss. 2. Harry didn't accept the ruling quietly. In a joint statement with fellow claimant Doreen Lawrence, he said that the verdict was not altogether unexpected, but argued the court had gone to unwarranted lengths to clear the Mail, adding, "We came to court seeking justice and accountability, but we have received neither." The statement also accused Mail journalists of offering denials rather than evidence, and claimed the court had chosen to believe them despite inconsistencies. The Mail, unsurprisingly, saw it differently, framing the result as vindication after years of accusations it maintained were baseless. Notably, this ruling landed during a UK visit already dogged by other headlines.
Harry has caused so much damage by these court cases, and he's hurt so many people. And that's what Harry does, because he's a wrecking ball. He's pathological, in my opinion. He's a cruel man. He's not a nice man. Not based on these actions, anyway. I'm being told the whole time that he's a lovely guy. Well, I judge people by their actions, not their words. Just going back to Gavin Burrows, that was the key piece of evidence. And it was, according to the judge, non-admissible, based upon the idea that it was a complete fake, a pack of lies. And Harry decides to continue with the case. Harry should have been respectful and pulled out, because unfortunately, he led Sir Elton John and Doreen Lawrence, this lovely lady who was the victim of the greatest tragedy in regard to her son, and